Hey friends, Amanda here. Welcome back to Handmade No Hallmark. Today in this card, I am mixing a bunch of my favorite stamp companies together, and I'm also using my new MFT dye inks. I hope you enjoy. Let's get into it. In my previous video, I did all of my swatching cards, and in this video, I am using a few of my favorites: Cotton Candy, Summer Splash, Blue Yonder, and Grape Jelly, excuse me. I will get all of the names down eventually, but there are so many and they are so beautiful. Like I mentioned in my last video, I went on about it and on about it. So I'll try not to in this one. So this card, I am mixing some of my favorite companies. I really love that you can mix and match from different companies. A lot of their products are similar in style, that you can easily mix them and make some really fun cards. You don't have to have everything from one company, everything from another. You can really kind of mix and make your own. The first thing I'm going in is I'm going to stamp my backgrounds, and I am using the Romantic Script background die from MFT. And I've had this one for quite a few years. I used it years ago on some thank you cards I had created, and I forgot I had it until I saw somebody had a picture of the card that I had created for them, and they shared it, and I totally forgot about this stamp, and I love it. Really beautiful. And I'm stamping it down on some Desert Storm cardstock, and I'm using the Craft ink from MFT's new ink line, and it is so pretty. I love the way that it looks on craft. Beautiful color. I really think the chocolate would look nice as well, but I really think this is nice. And I'm really looking forward to getting my blending brushes for these, because I really think this card would have looked nice with some ink blending done along the edges. So I'm hopeful that they'll come soon, and I think that these are going to ink blend really nice. I've never ink blended with dye inks before, so I'm really looking forward to doing a video on that and testing those out. I'm also going to be using this stamp on the white portions of my card, and I am going to be using some Fog ink from Simon Says Stamp. As you all know, this is my favorite gray ink from Simon. I love using it as just a nice muted background, super light ink. Looks really great. So I am making 2 cards today. I know in my opening image I only showed one, but they are exactly the same. So I'm doing the same process for both cards. And I really love the way that they turned out. I love having 2 on hand. They were really easy to create, and I had all of the supplies out, so I thought, why not? Let's just go ahead and make 2 cards. Stamping this down, again, I am using Simon's 120-pound cardstock, one of my favorite cardstocks. And these inks look beautiful on this cardstock. So nice. So I do highly recommend a nice heavy cardstock with these new MFT inks. I did try it out on some paper that I had gotten. I think it was from Amazon. I'm not sure what it is, but it does not look great. They don't dry back as nicely, so having a nice heavy cardstock, they do dry really nice. I'm also using one of my new favorites, if you guys haven't picked up on that yet, and it's the Artistic Prints from MFT. I have used this stamp set a lot recently, but I have been loving it. I love that it is so versatile and that there's lots of different ways that you can use it. I have used it in lots of different ways, so I hope I'm not boring you with it. So I'm going in first with the Cotton Candy, and as you can see as the videos progress, that they do dry back and they do lighten up to their natural colors. Again, super pretty. This Cotton Candy color can be kind of deceiving because the pink on the outside, and same with this Summer Splash, they look like they're going to be super bright, but they do dry back and they're a nice muted kind of pastel color, which I really like. And again, I'm just using my MISTI tool and, you know, switching out the 2 panels for both of my cards. That way, you know, kind of makes for a smooth process. So this is a nice way to do mass production if you're into doing that. I have done it in the past. I only do it on occasions when I have the energy and the willpower to mass produce cards, but I think these ones wouldn't be too hard to mass produce. They're really nice. Next I'm going in with Grape Jelly, and I love all the names of these new inks. Super cute. I don't think I've heard grape jelly as a color before, but it really does. Once it dries back, it really does look like grape jelly. Kind of makes me want to have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Sorry, I've been thinking about food a lot. Excuse me. But they are really nice, juicy inks. I think they're going to last a while. I don't know if they've mentioned bringing out re-inkers or anything like that. I don't know the longevity of these. The swatch video that I created, that was all me. MFT didn't ask me to do that. That was just me wanting to share my excitement with these new inks. And so I don't have all of the information on these inks. So if you have questions about them, I would just direct them right to MFT because I am not an expert. But I am going to share my adventure with them and share them with you guys. Now that I have all of those stamped down, I'm going to get my inks all cleaned off. I had contemplated using the sketchy circles on there, but I was already going to add some embossing, so I decided not to. And I'm just hitting this with my heat gun. You necessarily don't have to do this because they are dye inks. They do dry fast, but I did double stamp the last two, and I wanted to make sure that they were dry. Again, they do dry back and they soften and they spread out, and you don't have to worry about that. I have to get used to the idea of dye inks because I've been using distress inks and distress oxide inks for so long that I have to remember that these are dye inks and they do dry faster. Next, I'm going in with another new favorite, the Stronger Together stamp set from Simon Says Stamp. And I just love the line work on this stamp set. It is so nice and simple, and you can do lots of really fun things with it. I really need to try to just stamp and maybe watercolor these images. That's something I haven't done with them yet. Just a nice simple watercolored floral image right in the center of a card with a simple greeting on the bottom. Done. I think this would be really pretty. Another idea for another card. Next, I'm going in with some Simon Says Antique Gold Embossing Powder. I really think gold looks beautiful on top of these. White would look nice as well. I did contemplate doing white, but I'm kind of on a gold kick. So I wanted to add the gold, and who doesn't love gold? I think it looks pretty. I think something like this with lots of blues and then doing silver would be really nice. So again, I'm on a blue kick. I'm trying to venture from the blues. I've done a lot of blue and green cards. So I'm trying to pull myself away from that. I think I just naturally find myself leaning towards blues and greens because that's what my kids like. Not a lot of pinks and purples going on in this house. Lots of blues and greens and all sorts of those colors. So going to go ahead and get both of those embossed here. Brush away any of that leftover embossing powder that I don't want and hit it with my heat gun. Once I have this all smooth and melted, I'm going to clean off my stamp and set this aside, and I'm going to work on the next part of our card. So I did trim these down, the background piece and this main floral piece, with just some of my nesting dies, and I'm going around the edge with some Versamark ink, the same I used on the flower embossing. And I haven't done this technique in a while, but I really love it, and I just wanted to add just a tiny bit more gold on this, just to nice kind of frame it up. I thought about cutting some cardstock and doing like a mat, but I didn't want to waste all that gold cardstock, so this is a nice alternative. If you don't want to use up your cardstock, you know, those metallic cardstocks are popular, and you don't want to use those up, use your embossing powders. They make really great mats, and this is again one of my favorite techniques. You can do it with silver, you can do it with gold, you can do it with any of your color and embossing powders. So another great way to use up those embossing powders. Again, just going around the edge, nice thin line, makes a nice mat, adds just that nice little touch to each of these cards. Go around and get that all melted. I think it was years ago I saw Christina Warner do this in a video. Again, I think this was a really long time ago, maybe 6 years ago, And I just fell in love with the technique. It's just a simple way to add interest. And I've seen where it's really dramatic, where it's really sketchy. I think in a Christmas card I did a few years ago, I did a similar technique, and it was like, it almost looked like I had brushed the gold on with a paintbrush, because it was really kind of free-flowing or organic, and looked really nice. Maybe I'll see if I can't find the video and I'll link it to you if you feel like watching a Christmas video. But get this next one all coated here. Love the way that this looks. Super cute. And I was really excited. I received a card in the mail from one of my subscribers, which was a real nice surprise. And it was for the loss of my dog, which was a really sweet gesture, and I really appreciate it. It really brightened up my day. I do still think about him a lot, and I find myself looking for him and wanting to talk to him. So this card really brightened up my day, and again, I really appreciate it. So thank you very much, Marcy. I am so thankful for this card, and it's going to be hanging out with us for a very long time to come. So again, I really appreciate that. Next, I'm getting my card bases ready. I'm just using my favorite 110-pound cardstock from Simon to create some top folding A2 sized card bases. Again, you could create cards in any style, side folding, top folding. I just prefer top folding. I feel like they stand up better, and I just, again, like the style personally. Gonna adhere the background pieces with some of my Barely Arts adhesive. It's probably overkill on adhesive, but you know, you can never be too sorry, or too safe, I guess. Get that lined up, and I love the nice thin white mat around the outside. Really brings the whole card together. Again, and I love being able to mix and match what you have in your stash. It really makes your products go further, I think. That way you're not trying to kind of look through one company versus another. Not that, you know, there's anything better or worse about a company, but I like that some companies go really well together and you can really coordinate and match things up. Again, it's really one of my favorite ways to create cards. I think all of these companies have wonderful products, and I just love to be able to use them all together. So it's, again, one of my favorite things to do. Gonna add some 3M foam tape to pop up these white panels, just to add some dimension. These are fairly flat. The greeting that I'm gonna add is the only real dimension on this other than the sequins, so these will mail beautifully. No issues with that whatsoever. And I really love this wide embossed or 3D foam tape. I think I get it from Walmart. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but it's the only place that I've found that has this wide 3M foam tape. And I apologize if you hear any noise in the background. My husband and the kids are watching an action film, so they've got it turned up, and you know how guys are, they got to listen to the action movies really loud. So for the greeting on this card, I used a stamp from Honeybee Stamps, one of my favorite sentiment stamps of theirs. Again, I'll make sure everything that I used in this video is linked in the description box below. And all I did was I embossed the greeting with that same gold embossing powder on some vellum, and then I die cut that with the coordinating die, and I also die cut 3 layers of extra vellum with that same die without doing any embossing. And that way I can stack it up on top of each other so that I can add some foam tape behind it, and you won't see that foam tape anywhere. And it's, again, one of my favorite ways to add a greeting with vellum. I have done this technique in the past, and I'm just using the Simon Says stamp glue stick. And this works beautifully with vellum because you can't really see it at all behind it, especially on small things like this. I don't necessarily like to do it on larger pieces of vellum. I have done it on like circle vellum. I did it in a video a few weeks ago, but I think it's a really great way if you don't like to use Stick It or you don't have anything like that. I think the Simon Says foam or adhesive dot sheets would work really well. So that's just another alternative. And I am sorry if the video is out of focus. My camera was kind of acting weird. It didn't like to focus on things. Next, I'm going in with some foam strips. These are from Scrapbook Adhesives, and I'm just adding that right behind the greeting here. And you won't be able to see that foam tape because there are so many layers of that vellum. So you still get the look of vellum, you know, kind of that hazy off-white, but you don't see the adhesive behind it, which is, again, one of my favorite techniques. And again, I apologize if that's fuzzy. I'm not sure why it didn't want to focus on anything. I don't know if it was being thrown off by the shine on the embossing powder or what it was doing. It focused on my hands just fine, but further away, I'm not sure what was going on with that. Gonna adhere that right there underneath those florals. I think these cards turned out beautifully. I love this color combination with the MFT inks, the Cotton Candy, Summer Splash, Grape Jelly, and Blue Yonder. I think they all work wonderfully together. Nice color combination. I'll have to make sure I write that down or try to create one of those color combination swatches I've been seeing everywhere. Next, I'm going in with some flat gold sequins. This is from a holiday pack that I've gotten. I believe this is from Simon. Again, I'll make sure I have everything linked below. I need to go and get just a pack of these gold ones so I don't use up the ones in my Christmas set. But again, a favorite. Love the way that these look. I just, again, had to add a little bit more gold. You could use Nuvo drops, but these sequins matched a little bit better to the gold that I already had in the card. Once I had that card finished, I spilt the sequins everywhere. And the whole time I was cleaning these up, I kept saying to myself, everything's okay. Everything's okay. Just so I didn't, you know, get a little bit too crazy. They didn't have that much in the little tray, so it wasn't really that hard to clean up. So again, you spill something, it happens. Just move on and everything will be all right. So I'm going to add some sequins to the second card here. Again, just randomly, wherever you feel looks the nicest. If you don't like sequins, go ahead and leave them out. I really like these ones in particular. I've used them several times in some videos, and I think they are just a nice addition. And they're nice and flat, too. I think I prefer these ones to the other sequins, the ones that have like a traditional sequin. These ones are nice and flat and don't have that little hole on the inside. Lastly, I'm going to go in with my Wink of Stella glitter brush pen and add some sparkle to the petals on these flowers, and that will finish up this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider hitting the like button as well as the subscribe. It lets YouTube know that you're enjoying the content and helps me bring the content to you. Again, I hope you enjoyed these two cards featuring some of my favorite companies and mixing and matching products from them. Again, I hope you enjoyed, and please check out my MFT ink swatching video on the new MFT inks. Again, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys again real soon in the next one. Bye!
On screen, I've got a few videos that I think you'll enjoy. Consider hitting the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any more videos at my YouTube channel.